Hello and welcome to At the Movies. This is a very special show because I'm coming to you from the 42nd Toronto Film Festival. This edition runs from September 7th to the 17th. Over 10 days, 339 films will be shown here, which includes 244 features and 84 shorts. The Toronto Film Festival has been criticized for being too big, but honestly, there's something here for everyone. Firstly, all the possible Oscar contenders are here. You have to choose between Angelina Jolie's First They Killed My Father, Alexander Payne's Downsizing, George Clooney's Suburbicon. There is a section for genre lovers, a great selection of documentaries. You can see the best titles from Cannes, dozens of foreign films, and there is even a television sidebar. And if that's not enough, Lady Gaga is performing here as the Netflix documentary Gaga 5'2" has its world premiere. This is, as David Fair wrote in Rolling Stone magazine, the start of prestige movie dropping, Oscar-obsessing A-list award season. In addition to the screenings, names like Angelina Jolie, Javier Bardem, Dame Helen Mirren and Gael Garcia Bernal will give keynote addresses. India is also making a splash at TIFF. I spoke to Priyanka Chopra and her mother Madhu Chopra, who are the producers on the film PAHUNA, The Little Visitors. We were also joined by the film's director Paakhi Tyrewala. Paakhi, Priyanka, Mrs. Chopra, I can't say Madhu.
Yeah. Please, even my friends call her Madhu.
I can't.
Yeah, all of them call me Madhu.
Everybody calls her Madhu. She's Jagat Madhu.
She's the Jagat Madhu, I love it. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, I have to tell you, I was very proud to see you on stage, and especially when you said that this is about women in entertainment and women in film. And here are three amazing women who have made it possible for a very niche film to come to a platform like the Toronto Film Festival. Tell me, how do you now take a film like this to the world? It's already to the world here, but now how do you kind of take it forward? What do you do with this?
We're all trying to figure that out.
So
but when
the morning after question.
Yes, it is. It really is. Like, ab kya kare? Because the idea when Paakhi came to me with the film and what I promised her and what I really wanted to do with this film was, this film can be placed anywhere in the world. These two kids could be from Syria, they could be from Mexico, they could be from any part of the world, and this story would feel the same. Because when kids look at the things that are happening to them by adults taking these decisions, they don't understand it. And I think that that's what helps me. Like when Cameron, who's the director of TIFF, came and saw the film, that's the first thing he said to me was that, you know, this film has such a special place. And we made a really chotu movie. Nobody expected it to kind of get that kind of response, but I think it did because of that. So now I think the idea would be to hope that there will be other festivals, especially after the response we've got at TIFF, to be able to take it and to be able to introduce it to the rest of the world, because I think Paakhi's made a really beautiful film. I just met a reporter, a journalist I was doing an interview with right now, who said he's seen at least 10 films in TIFF so far. And this was the best cinematography he's ever seen of a movie so far.
Oh my!
So good on you, and we're going to call the DP and
yeah.
tell him. But like, you know, things like that. We're hoping to find a direction. You want to tell your big business plan? She's been whipping people.
Somehow, I can't imagine.
You should see.
Oh, yeah.
You should see Office.
You're a toughie.
Arey baap.
That's another.
It's called Velvet. What? Velvet gloves mean Khanjar chupake.
Iron hand, iron fist.
Iron fist and velvet gloves.
So what are the world domination plans?
I don't see it as a world domination plan, but this film needs to reach out to as many children and through them to as many adults as possible, because it's the children talking to you. They are talking about the impact of our decisions, good, bad, ugly. When they have nothing, we don't consult with them. We don't even hear them out.
Or consider them.
Bothering them. So this is that story, and it needs to reach the right target audience. So we think we'll try and go as far as possible around the world, but in India especially, since it's a film from the terrain region which has these kind of issues that children deal almost every day. So we have a collaboration with Children's Film Society of India and
the government of Sikkim.
Yeah, the government of Sikkim, yes, and the INB ministry, the Secretary INB ministry, he promised that we'll have it dubbed in Hindi, and they'll percolate it down through their channels to the littlest of the villages, through the, the mobile vans that carry films. So it will reach everywhere that we hope it should reach. And yes, they will help us dub it in 14 regional languages also by the end of the year. So that's one aspect of it. And second, we'll try to have a theatrical release all over India. And if we can find a good market worldwide, we will try to do that.
I mean, the language is Nepalese, so I know that that restricts us, but I really do believe in the movie, and I feel like the world is sort of ready for entertainment which is thought-provoking. Pop culture is ready for having conversations instead of just hiding our thoughts behind, जब कहते थे एक ज़माने में कि leave your brains behind and come and watch the movie, that doesn't work anymore. People want to use their brains now when they come and watch entertainment.
No, they don't want you to be taken for that.
Your intelligence taken for granted, yeah.
Okay, what's the hardest thing about working with children?
I guess for me personally, see, when you're working with Bombay children, it's the tantrum and the. But with these guys,
Baby
they're
ko juice chahiye?
Juice chahiye, exactly. Yeah, chocolate manga. But for me, with these kids, the most heartbreaking thing was their honesty and their dedication. So in the middle of the night, I'm shooting with them. In the middle of the dialogue, while she's saying the dialogue, she falls asleep. And I say, sweetie, you've fallen asleep. And she would wake up and say, mere muh pe thanda pani dalo, please. Main phir so gayi. And that breaks your heart. And the fact that you have to make them cry and manipulate them, for me, I decided I'm anyways going to hell now. For doing that. So, what I've done for this film, I'm going.
But what you will do for kids and families that actually watch this, you remember that lady who stood up and she was a Canadian woman who had nothing to do with India, and she just got up and said that the innocence of the film just moved me so much, and I've never seen India look like this, and I did not know that these problems existed, and it just opened up eyes of people who don't know, and so you're not going to go to hell.
Another thing, when I was making this film, everybody kept saying, my God, your film looks beautiful and the children are not looking garib. How will you go internationally?
Yeah, they are not looking like they're from the slums. How will it go international?
So this sort of poverty porn was not done.
Yes, exactly, which happens. That's a really great
time.
word.
And thankfully, that's what I'm saying, the vision of the directors who have supported me, they didn't want to go with the cliche. This is also our
Producers, director tum.
Sorry. Our producers, they are way too creatively involved in the movie. So obviously I'll say director.
You're the director.
So it was so nice, na? They're not trying to make me go with the cliche. And it's a beautiful film. They're cute looking kids. India looks really nice.
Be true to the story. Yeah. I don't believe in manipulating कि audience को देखनी ये अच्छी लगती है. क्यों बना रहे हो कहानी फिर? कहानी को कहानी बनाओ, जिसको देखना होगा वो देखेंगे.
Yeah, the visuals are staggering.
Yeah, they're really beautiful.
Really beautiful. Priyanka, this is of course one of 3 films you're backing that is being directed by a woman. Is that a conscious choice as a producer?
No, but it is definitely an important choice. It's not like I'm saying I want to find women and make them filmmakers. All my directors so far in all the films we've done have been first-time directors, and that's important to me, to give first-time directors voices based on merit. And yes, a few of them are going to be women, but I'm not being a woman saying that, all right, just because you're a woman, I'm going to give you an opportunity.
No gender discrimination. I'm happy with that.
But at the same time, I do have a little bit of a bias, little bit.
I'm glad.
Little bit.
And tell me, what is the larger vision for Purple Pebble? Where do you see it? And is it hard being a global star, making small movies, niche films? Where do you see this going in the next 2 years?
Well, we have very different perspectives on it.
Yeah. Priyanka believes that it should be a content-driven production company that only looks at content. To hell with everything else.
No. See, she's business, I'm creative, okay? That's how it works. I feel we've reached a point in cinema where content is king, and that's where the money comes from. Whereas my mom begs to differ. And she's like, सबको सिर्फ तुम्हारी content नहीं समझ में आती है. So we're trying to find our middle ground.
Can I quickly add to what you said while walking here?
What?
She said, अब तो अच्छी फिल्म बनानी पड़ेगी, चस्का लग गया.
देखा. Yes, thank God. Because what happens is my mom, how we do this is the scripts creatively come to me and I greenlight what I think is a film that is a voice of our company and what we want to make. And then she budgets it and tells me if it is possible, if it's not possible, if it makes no sense, and whether we will eventually make money or not. So far, that's not something we've banked on. But we've been lucky that our films have received critical and commercial acclaim to a certain, I mean, we're 6 movies old. But I think the aim for me with Purple Pebble is definitely to push content-driven films, to give opportunities to new talent. Anu, I did not have that when I came into the business, and it was so hard to get a foot through the door just for someone to take you seriously, or just for someone to turn around and say, oh, okay, just because you're not related to someone or someone hasn't recommended you does not mean you are not a good actor. So it took me a while, despite of the fact that I was Miss World, to do that. And the same thing's happening here now in America, because I look a certain way and I'm from India. I mean, we sit in our bubble, and this is including me when I was in India, thinking, ki, you know, I'm a huge star here. It's not that hard. But it is, because I'm still brown and I'm still Indian, and that's not mainstream yet in global entertainment. And it's the same battle for me as talent here as well, which is why, like, even production-wise, the kind of things that I want to produce here, like the sitcom which we talked about based on Madhuri's life, like, for me that was so important because it's creating an opportunity for a female protagonist and an older actor, which is again something, unless you're someone who has already proved your mettle in films, women don't get those opportunities. So I don't know what that means in terms of a 2-year plan, but those are the mandates that I sort of want to make my films based on.
Now that Chaska lag gaya.
It's a little utopian, but thank God. My checks will be signed.
No, she sets the bar so high to reach that, and then for the next film, she sets it higher. That becomes like a big deal to achieve all that. And then she's such a hard taskmaster, I can't tell you. She's been going over screenplays for last 2 years. There's a film. Back. No, it's not working, go back. But she's still working on it. It's not that she's given it up. She's still working on it. She's still getting people to...
I get script doctors to work, because they're first-time writers, first-time filmmakers. You need to be able to give them the technical support to be able to at least find their own, you know. And yeah, I know we've been developing 2 scripts for 2 years. This was her side tana to me. कि 2 साल से लिखे जा रहे हैं, छोड़ दो.
Yeah, इस तरफ जाओ, उधर जाओ.
Okay, last question I have to ask, and this is for her because I read the sweetest interview she gave.
Oh God.
Where she
What
said,
did she say now?
She said that she works so hard. She said, I don't know when Priyanka sleeps because when I'm working, she's working, and when I'm sleeping, she's working. So when do you sleep?
I sleep. I need 5 hours of sleep, or 5.5, 6 hours of sleep to be extremely functional. It's just that my days are extremely efficiently slotted. And I get messages from my assistants at night saying to get 8 hours of sleep, you need to sleep at this time. So my clock starts. Oh my God, okay, I won't sleep 8 hours. I can manage with 7 hours tomorrow. So it's like mathematics. My day is scheduled by the minute, which is fine, and that's the way I love it. I mean, it's a champagne problem. I would rather have this where I have a lot of work to do than have none at all.
I have to tell you, I once asked Mr. Bachchan this question, and with a complete straight face, he looked at me and said, during interviews. Thank you so much, and all best for the movie.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's time for a break now, but don't go anywhere. After the break, we have Dame Judi Dench, Ali Fazal, and much, much more. So stay tuned at the movies. Welcome back, I'm Anupama Chopra and you're watching At the Movies. I'm coming to you from the Toronto Film Festival. Ali Fazal is at the festival with Victoria and Abdul, based on the true life story of the friendship between Queen Victoria and her Indian manservant Abdul. I caught up with him and his co-star, the iconic Dame Judi Dench. So the relationship between Victoria and Abdul is so complex and so ambiguous, which is what makes it so interesting. Did the two of you have conversations about how we should play this, or did it all come from the script?
I think most of it came from the script, because I think Lee Hall had he'd given us a very fantastical approach, in it. So I thought, well, we tried to do lines and find time and space just to get in rehearsals, because, well, we didn't have formal rehearsals. I think Stephen was just pretty cool with that. He said, I'd just come on set and...
Stephen just says, do it. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes, we had a bit of a go, hadn't we?
We did. We did some Urdu.
We had a bit of Urdu.
Yeah.
Well, he says directing you is really easy because he just has to show up and you do it. Is that as easy
Oh,
as
that's
it is?
Stephen. That's Stephen. Well, it's the 5th time I worked with him, so we have a kind of shorthand now. So you know that when he says at the end of a shot, he just sometimes just walks away. A bit disconcerting, isn't it?
Well, I remember he walking up to you and saying,
Would you like to do it again? He sometimes says.
Yeah.
And then you know that he'd like to do it again. So, there's no choice, really.
Yeah.
Well, the scene I loved best was when you talk about loneliness and how, everybody I've loved has died and I just go on and on. It felt like it came from a really personal space. Can you speak a little bit about that scene?
Well, I'm her age, and my friends are dying, and my family, and especially this year. So that required no rehearsal for me, in that I understood I don't have the weight and responsibility that she had. What a wonderful thing that suddenly this person walked into her life who she actually found that, like Ali and I were when we met over a sense of humour.
It's pretty it's pretty similar. Yeah.
Do you make each other laugh?
I try.
He makes me laugh.
She's got a great sense of humor, I think. Yeah, it's just...
It's essential when you're acting. Absolutely. It can get you into a lot of trouble, but it is essential.
Well, I've got my English ways down. We've done the tea and the scones at the Isle of Wight.
Scones.
Scones. Sorry. Yeah, it's happening.
Please say it's scone.
Hum mehez
Hum mehez
tukre hain.
hain. Alhamdulillah.
So, okay.
But Ali, did you have any concerns that this character is shown as so unwavering in his loyalty to the British? Did you have any concerns that there isn't enough ambiguity there?
No, I thought... In fact, yeah, I did question it. And it was interesting because at a very young age, he was a very learned man. He was a Hafiz. He'd been through the Holy Book, the Quran, and he chose to see past that. Because it's amazing, you see Muhammad, his friend, and Muhammad sort of mirrors the emotion in India and what we were going through. And it's not a very great time we were going through. We were, the East India Company was all over the place. It was fresh out of the mutiny. But he chose to go with something more, and he saw, of course, befriended one of the most powerful women on this planet. She should have been the happiest person. She wasn't. She was lonely, bored, and he just spoke to her. And she gave him the same things back, treated him like an equal. And I think that's what was really, really far ahead of its times, from both ends.
You're a leading lady at 82, which is so inspiring for women, not just women in film, but women everywhere. What is the secret sauce?
I'm what I call a jobbing actor. And I just always very, very pleased if I'm offered a job to do. That's all. And I try and give advice to people who want to act. And I've always said, if there's anything at all you have a leaning towards it, other than acting, for goodness sake, do that. Because it isn't true that good actors are employed and bad actors are not employed. It's not true. It's entirely to do with luck. It's entirely to do with being seen at a certain time, that somebody happens to think, oh, I think she could probably play that part, or I think he'd be good. That's what it's to do with. It's nothing else. Then you just get on and do it as well as you can. But, you know, after what's so frustrating about film is that, you know, you look at it and I've seen the film twice now. There are all sorts of things that I would like to do differently. I can't do it now. It's too late. It's not like the theatre. If we did it, if we'd done this play last night, somebody had said something, tonight we could get it better. We can't do it now.
Well, you were wonderful, so
Well, it's very nice of you to say so. Thank you.
thank you so
Very
much.
pleased.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Ali.
Anupama.
Thank you.
That's all the news from Toronto. I hope you enjoyed our festival special. I'm now heading home to see a film that I can't afford to miss, Kangana Ranaut's Simran. Here's my take. Simran is a brilliant performance trapped in a sloppy screenplay. Ironical given the headline-hogging fallout between writer Apurva Asrani and Kangana Ranaut over writing credits. Actually, the writing is the weakest part of the film. Kangana towers over every frame as Praful Patel, also known as Praf, a 30-year-old divorced hotel maid. Firstly, how many heroines would be willing to play that? When we first meet her, Praf is cleaning toilets and vacuuming floors. I wondered if any other leading lady in Hindi cinema had been introduced like this. Kangana's lack of vanity on screen is among her many strengths. She isn't afraid to look unattractive or behave badly. Praf is goofy and spirited, but also shrill and difficult. In one scene, in a fit of rage, she picks up a chair to hit her father. Praf is also unapologetic about enjoying sex. She has no qualms about casual encounters and cheerfully describes one boyfriend as last season. She's a complicated woman with a self-destructive streak, and Kangana plays her to perfection. The story and milieu is also unique. For a change, we're immersed in the world of working-class non-resident Indians. These are the folks who didn't make it to the Karan Johar version of the Indian abroad. There are no grand mansions or snazzy club nights. Instead, they sell fafra and watch DDLJ on a loop and struggle to pay home loans. Praf's parents, played by Kishori Shahane and Hiten Kumar, are warm and ordinary in the best sense of the word. They are exasperated by their tempestuous daughter. Her relationship with her father has moments of genuine heartache. Praf breaks all the rules of this nice Gujarati family, but then she also breaks the law. She starts robbing banks to pay off a debt, and it's all downhill from there for Praf and for the film. The scenario becomes patently absurd. It turns out that American cops in Indian films are as low IQ as Indian cops in Indian films. An unarmed Praf walks into half a dozen banks and robs them without any problem. At one point, she's actually watching a YouTube video on how to rob banks. There's also an unintentionally comical baddie called Mr. Bugs. He refers to himself in third person with lines like, "Bugs will go anywhere for the money." The story is entirely set in the US, but the American characters are all caricatures. The second half of Simran veers between silly and tedious. Soham Shah plays a love interest, but their fleeting friendship doesn't have enough heft. Despite Kangana's strenuous work, the narrative doesn't grip you. There are stray flashes of life, and then it collapses again. Director Hansal Mehta is attempting here to create a new type of Hindi film heroine, but he isn't able to build a sustained interest, which is a real shame, because a character like Praf is rare. There's this refreshing rebelliousness about her. And just why is a film about Praful Patel called Simran? You'll have to see it to find out. I just wish Praf was in a better story. I'm going with 2.5 stars.